Hi, I am Angelica Kaltakad. Today we will be discussing Chapter 7, Interfaces. What is interfaces? Interfaces is a boundary across which two independent systems meet and act on our communication with each other. Overview, interfaces type highlight the main design and research consideration for each of the different interface. Consider which interface is best for a given application or activity. In this chapter, there are 20 types of interfaces. The first one is the command line interfaces. Commands such as abbreviation, for instance, ls, type in the prompt to which the system responds. Efficient, precise, and fast. Large overhead to learning set of command. It is also some of the hardware and it also some of the hardwired and keyboard while other can be assigned to a key. System administrator, programmer, and power user often find that it is much more efficient and quicker to use command languages as Microsoft PowerShell. It also a virtual reality world. Command can be issued to enable the user to move their avatar around. You can also interact with others and find out about the environment in which they are located. Research, design, and consideration. Form, name types, and structure are key research questions. Consistency is most important design principle. For example, always use a first letter of a command. Command interface popular for web scripting. The second one is the graphical user interface. The Xerox Star interface led to the birth of the graphical user interface, opening up new possibility for user to interact with a system and for information to be presented and represented within a graphical interface. The original GUI was called a WIMP and consisted of the following. Windows. Section of the screen that can be scrolled, stretched, overlapped, open, close, and move using a mouse. Icon. Pictogram that represent application, object, commands, and tools that are open or activate when clicked on. Menus. List of the options that can be scrolled through the selected in the way a menu is used in the restaurant. And the last is the pointing device. A mouse controlling the cursor as point to enter the window, menus, and the icon on the screen. Windows design. Windows were invented to overcome physical constraints of computer display, enable more information to be viewed and tasks to be performed on the same screen. In Windows design, it also has a scroll bar. Within Windows enable more information to be viewed. Multiple windows can be make it difficult to find desired one. For example, listing, tabbing, and thumbnails are techniques that can be helped in the Windows design. Menu design is the interface menu are typical ordered at the top or row down the side of the screen using category headers as part of the menu bar. The content of the menu are also large part invisible, only dropping down when the header is selected or rolled over with the mouse. There are 6 menu styles: the flat list, drop down, pop up, contextual, collapsible, and mega. In flat list it is a good for showing a large number of option at the same time when display that if it is small or big. And the drop down is show more option on same screen. For example is the cascading. Pop up is when press command key for relevant option. The conceptual is it is provide access to often used command associated with a particular item. Collapsible is a toggles between plus and minus icons on the header to expand the contrast its contents. And the last one is the mega. It is the all option show using 2D drop down layout. Icon design. Icon can be designed to represent object and operation in the interface using concrete object and or abstract symbol. There are two types of icon style. This is the flat 2D icons for a smartphone and smartwatch. And the last is the basic edit icon that appear on iPhone app. This is the first generation example. Another example is today's generation, there are now many different types of icon and menus, including the and audio menus, 3D animated icons, and even the tiny icon base menus that can fit into the smartwatch screen. In addition, a number of graphical elements that were not part of the WIMP interface have been incorporated into the GIO. These include the toolbars and docks and rollovers. Simple smartwatch menu with 1, 2, 3 options. There are the 1 action, the 2 actions, and this is the 3 actions. For example, they represent desktop objects, tools, paintbrush, application for instance, web browser, and operations such as cut, paste, next, and accept and change. Multimedia combine different media within a single interface, namely graphics, text, video, sound, and animation, and link them together with the various forms of interactivity. The assumption is that a combination of media interactivity can provide better ways of presenting information that can a single media. For example, just text or a video alone. In Skiff Rogers 1996 says that the added values of multimedia is that it can be easier for learning, better for understanding, more engaging, and more pleasant. Another distinctive feature of multimedia is its ability to facilitate rapid access to multiple representation of information. User click on links in an image or text. In this multimedia, there are the pros and cons, which is it can be facilitates rapid access to multiple representation of information, can provide better ways of presenting information that can any idea, media alone, can enable easier learning, better understanding, more engagement, and more pleasure. And the last is the it can also encourage user to explore different parts of a game or story. Media learning app designed for tablet.
Okay, this is the continuation of our topic interfaces. Virtual reality or VR. VR has been developed to support learning and training for numerous skills. And it has been around since the 1970s when the researchers first began developing computer-generated graphical simulation to create the illusion of participation in a synthetic environment rather than external observation of such an environment. Third, the goal was to create user experience that feel virtually real when interacting with an artificial environment. Fourth, VR simulation of the world can be constructed to have a higher level of fidelity with the objects they represent compared to other forms of graphical interfaces. Players can have a first-person perspective where their view of the game environment is through their own eyes, or a third-person perspective where they see the world through an avatar visually represented on the screen. VR is also starting to be used by airlines, travel companies to enrich someone planning experience of their travel destinations. So, virtual reality plays an important role in realizing telesensation. Through it, a virtual world is created that viewers can enter and walk through where they can handle virtual objects. The virtual world allows us as stereoscopic view from front or side, depending on a viewpoint. Just as in the real world, the ability to enter and walk through the virtual world and handle virtual objects using hand gestures make VR interactive and this is one of its most important features. Next, website design. The goal of web design has been to develop sites that are not usually usable but also aesthetic pleasing. Web designers now have a number of languages available to design websites, such as Ruby and Python, HTML5 and web development tools, such as JavaScript and CSS are also used. With the arrival of tablets and smartphones, web designers needed to rethink how to design web browsers and websites for them, as they realized touchscreens affords a different interaction style than PC or laptops. The standard desktop interface was found to not work as well on a tablet or smartphone. Responsive website developed that change in their layout, graphic design, font appearance, depending on the screen size or smartphone, tablet, or PC, on which it was being displayed. Website design. Early websites are largely text-based, providing hyperlinks. Concern was with how best to structure information to enable users to navigate and access them easily and quickly. Nowadays, more emphasis is making pages distinctive, striking, and aesthetically pleasing. Need to think how to design for information for multiple platforms. Next slide. Mobile device. Mobile devices. Mobile devices have become pervasive, with people increasingly using them in all aspects of their every life, working lives, including phones, fitness and trackers, and web watches. Tablets and smartphones are also commonly used in classrooms that can be stored in special tab cabbies provided by school for safekeeping and recharging. Smartphones and smartwatches have an assortment of sensors embedded in them, such as an accelerometer to detect movement, a thermometer to measure temperature, a galvanic skin response to measure changes in sweat level on one's skin. Smartphones can also be used to download contextual information by scanning barcodes in the physical world. Mobile interfaces typically have a small screen and limited to control space. Another key concern for mobile display design is the size of the area on the display that the user touches to make something happen, such as key, icon, button, or app. Mobile devices, handheld device, intended to be used while can on move, have, have become persuasive, increasingly used in all aspects of everyday and working life. For example, phones, fitness trackers, and smartwatches, or larger size tablets used in a mobile setting. Next, appliances. It includes machine for everyday use in a home. For example, washing machines, microwave, refrigerators, toasters, bread makers, and smoothie makers. Most people using them will be trying to get something specific done in a short period of time, such as starting a wash, watching a program, buying a ticket, or making a drink. Many of them now have LED displays that provides multiple function and feedback about process or such as temperature, minutes remaining, and so on. Some some have begun to be connected to the internet with companion device, enabling them to be controlled by remote apps. Alan Cooper et al. Since 2014 suggests that appliance interface require the designer to view them as as transient interfaces wherein the interaction is short. The design ideas of simplicity and visibility are key here. Status information such as photocopier ticket machine and watch time should be presented in a straightforward form and prominently shown in the interface. Next, voice user interfaces or VUI. It involves a person talking with a spoken language app such as search engine, a train timetable, travel planner, or a phone service. It is commonly used for inquiring using such as information or issuing command to a machine. It is used an interaction type of command or conversation where users speak and listen to an interface rather than click on or touch or point to it. The first generation of speech system earned a reputation for mishearing all too, all too often what a person said. Next. So, this is the recognized speech, recognizable again with human as a human computer interaction. As you can see in image, this is the first generation of speech system, a reputation for mishearing all to what a person said. So ayan, yung pakikipag-interact niya sa computer. Next, wait. Voice user, again, voice user interface or VUI. Machine learning algorithms have been developed that are continuing to improve their recognize what someone is saying. VUIs have become popular for a range of apps, speech-to-text systems such as Dragon enable people to dictate rather than have to type. Whether it is entering data to a spreadsheet using a search engine or writing a document. One of the most popular applications of speech technology is called routing, where companies use an automated speech system to enable users to reach one of their services during a phone call. Fourth, users may command voice assistants like Amazon's Alexa and Google Home to entertain in the home by delivering jokes, playing music, keeping track of time, and playing games. And last, despite advantages, uh, despite advances in speech recognition, conversational interaction is limited mainly to answering questions and responding to requests. Next, pen-based devices. Pen-based devices enable people to write, draw, select, and move objects of an interfaces using like space of styluses that capitalize on a well-honed drawing that writing skills are developed childhood. Second, digital ink such as Anoto uses a combination of an ordinary ink pen with a digital camera that digitally records everything written with the pen or special paper. And last, the pen works by recognizing a special non-repeating dot pattern that is pointed on the paper. So as you can see in the image, this is a pen-based devices. Next, the digital pen can transfer data that has been stored in the pen via Bluetooth or a user or in a computer. Another advantage of digital pens is that they allow user to annotate existing documents such as spreadsheets, presentations, and diagrams quickly and easily as in a similar way to how they would do this when using paper-based version. Third, one problem with using pen-based interaction on small screens, however, it is that sometimes it can be difficult to see options on the screen because the user can obscure part of it when writing. And last, digital ink is not to be confused with the term electronic ink or e-ink. Electronic ink is a display technology designed to mimic and the appearance of ordinary ink on paper used in e-readers such as a Kindle. Touchscreens. Single touchscreens used in walk kiosks such as ticket machine or museum guides and cash registers have been around for a while. They work by detecting the presence and location of a person's touch on a display. Options are selected by tapping on the screen. Multitasks, multi-touch surface, on the other hand, support a much wider range or more dynamic fingertip actions such as swiping, clicking, pinching, pushing, and tapping. Two hands can also use it together to stretch and move objects on a tabletop surface, similar to how both hands are used to stretch an elastic band or scoop together a set of objects. Next. Again, single touchscreens used in kiosks such as ticket machine or museum guides and cash register have been around for a while. They work by detecting the presence and location of a person touch on a display. Options are selected by tapping on the screen. Third, multi-touch surfaces, on the other hand, support a much wider range or more dynamic fingerprint actions such as swiping, flicking, pinching, pushing, and tapping. Two hands can also be used together to stretch and move objects on the tabletop surface, similar to how two buttons are used to stretch as elastic band or scoop together of a set of objects. So as you can see in the image, this is the multi-touch surfaces with two hands. Next. Again, touchscreens have become pervasive, increasingly becoming the main interface that many people use on a daily basis. They are different from GUIs, and a central design concern is what types of interaction techniques to use best to support different activities. Third, both hands may be used on a multi-touch tabletops to enable user to make a digital objects larger and smaller or to rotate them. Dwelling touches or pressing and holding a finger down can also be used to enable user and to perform dragging actions and to bring up pop-up menus. And last, another limitation of touchscreens is that they do not provide tactile feedback in the same way that keys of or mice do when pressed. To compensate, visual, audio, and haptic feedback can be used. Next, gesture-based system. Gestures involves moving arms and hands to communicate to provide information to someone. Gestures need to be sequential to be understood in the way of a sentence is composed of a noun, then verb and object plus operation. One area where gesture interaction has been developed is in an operating room. So as you can see in the image, this is a gesture-based system by using of hands by communicating among other people in the community. And last, a key to design for concern using is gestural input is to consider how a computer system recognizes and delineates the user gestures. Okay, so the next slide will be proceed by another group mate. So thank you.
Hello guys, this is Leonard. Haptic interface, it provides tactile feedback by applying vibration and forces to the person using actuators that are embedded in their clothing or device that they are carrying such as a smartphone or smartwatch. Vibrotactical feedback can also be used to simulate the sense of touch between remote people who want to communicate. For example, for that is our smartphone. They have a haptic effect or vibration. If we receive a notification, call, message, we inform what is going on or what is we are receiving. Another form of feedback is called autohaptic, which means create the illusion of touch in the media. It this by using ultrasound to make their dimensional shape and texture that can be felt but not seen by the user. Haptic are also being invented into clothing, sometimes called exoskeleton. One application area is to help people who have walking difficulties and those who need to exercise but find difficult to do so. Haptic are now commonly used in gaming console, smartphone, and controllers to alert or higher a user experience. Multimodal interface are intended to enrich a user experience by multiplying the way of information, experience, and control at the interface through using different modalities, such as touch, sight, and sound, and speech. Interface techniques that have been combined for this purpose, including speech and gestures, eyes, gaze, and gestures, haptic in audio output, and pin input and pitch. The most common combination of technologies used a multimodal interface is a speech and vision speech. For example, for that, our smartphone, our eyes, gaze, and gesture, um, we are unlock and lock our phone by using our eyes and our face, or our also our audio or our voice speech. Multimodal interface can also be combined with multi-sensors input to enable other aspects of human body to be tracked by the using of fingerprint. Multimodal system really recognizing aspects of the user behavior, including a handwritten, speech, gesture, eye movement, or other body movements. Shareable interfaces are designed for the modern person to use. An advantage of shareable interface is that they provide a larger international space of that can support a flexible group working enable groups to create a content together at the same time. For the example of that is the video game multiplayer system. You can play two or more people at the same time. Another type of shareable interface, a software platform that enable group of people to work together simultaneously even when they're geographically apart. Early research on the shareable interface focused largely on international issues, such as how to support electronically based on handwritten and drawing and the selecting and moving of objects around the display. User studies have been shown the horizontal surface compared with the virtual one support more turn talking and collaborate working into locating groups while providing a larger size of tabletops does not necessarily improvement group working but can encourage a greater division of labor. Tangible interface, it uses sensor-based interaction where a physical object such as bricks, balls, and cubes are coupled with a digital representation. Among the technologies used to create a tangible are RFID, tags and sensor embedded in the physical object as well as digital tabletops that they detect movement and display, visual and surrounded the physical object. The example is the NLEX. We have a RFID right there. You can pay your tax or you can pay your fees using a RFID scanner. A benefit of tangibility is the physical object and a digital representation can be positioned, combined, and explored in the creative ways, enable dynamic information to be presented in different ways. Augmented reality, it became an overnight success with the arrival of Pokemon Go in 2016. Using players' smartphone cameras and GPS signal, they are games make it seem as if a virtual Pokemon character are appearance in the real world, popping up all over the place, such as on the building, on the street, and the parks. AR works are superimposing a digital element like Pokemons on the physical device and object. AR was the used to aid controller and operation in rapid decision making. A number of high-end cars are now provide AR windows technologies, just like a Tesla cars. We have we they are have a sensor or tracking device to track the destination, and where the navigation direction can literally look like they are painted on the road ahead on the driver. Other AR apps have been developed to aid people walking in the city or town. Just like in the augmented reality, ways. Reality, um, wearables are the broad categories of device that they are worn on the body. They are including smartwatches, fitness trackers, fashion tech, and smart glasses. If you jogging or on the outside, they wear a fitness tracker. Early wearable focus convenience enable people to carry out tasks without having to take out and control handheld device. Exoskeleton clothing is also areas with fashion meet technologies in order to augment and assist people who have problem with walking by literally walking or exercising in person wearing them. Google Glass are wearable that went in the sales in 2014 in various fashion style. The another one example is the um, Ray-Ban smart glasses invented by Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Metaverse right now. You can take photo, videos, and also we can receive text and message call and notification. Robot and drones. Robots have been around for the sometimes most notable as characters in the science fiction movies, but they also play important roles as part of manufacturing assembly lines, as remote investigation or hazardous location and research and rescue helper in disaster or far out, faraway places. Console interface have been developed to enable human to control and navigate robots in remote terrains using a combination of joystick and keyboard control together with the cameras and sensor based interaction. Drones are common right now. We are using the drones in common in the by the making of videos or making a cinematic effect. Domestic robots that help with the cleaning and the gardening have become popular. And drones also used in agriculture. If we are watering our plant or our crops by the using of drones, we can use of that. Robots are also being developed to help elderly and disabled with a certain activities such as picking up objects and cooking meals. Drones are form of unmanned aircraft that are controlled remotely. They were first used by the hobbies and then by the military. Robot and drones. An ethical concern whether it's acceptable to create a robot like exhibit behavior that human will be considered to be a human or animal. Another ethical concern whether it's acceptable to use unnamed drones to take a serious image or videos to film town and private property without permission or people knowing that is happening. Drones are banned for certain areas such as airport where they present a real danger. Brain-computer interface or BCI provide a communication pathway between a person's brain waves and internal device such as a chorus or screen, a tangible pump, and the move of via airflow. Brain-computer interface have been also developed to control various games. For example, the Brain Ball was developed as a game to be controlled by a player. Brain was which they have compete to control both movement across the table of becoming more relaxed and focused. The one example of this one is a lie detector by the using of Rafi Tulfo. They can track, they can track or they can know what is truth, but not 100% success. Other possibilities include controlling a robot, being able to fly, and virtual pain. Smart interface, therefore, motivation of many technologies is to make them smart, whether it is a smartphone, smartwatch, smart building, smart home, or smart appliances. Smart devices are designed to interact with the user other device connected to a network, many of which are automated, not requiring user to interact with them directly. To achieve this, some of them been programmed with the AI so they have learned the context and user behavior. Using this intelligence, they have been changed setting of which switch things on according to the user's assumed preference. So the smart interface, the example is a smartwatch or smart TV. You have the smart TV, and that is the one of the example of smart interface. Smart buildings have been designed to be more energy efficient and cost effectiveness. While some smart building and homes have improved how they are managed and cut costs, they can also frustrating to be a user who sometimes would like to be able to open windows to let fresh and air in raise and blind to let in natural lighting. So that's our report. Thank you for listening and watch.